Welcome back, S'mores, to Beyond the Campfire. I'm your sexy host, Will, here with the Indian host, Steven. And we got a really cool episode today because somebody just went across the pond and had himself some tea and crumpets. Hung out with, well, I would say the queen, but she's dead. Hung out with, actually, he could have hung out with the queen, our
Oh,
ghost.
we do have a ghost story for you guys today.
Yes,
Hey, who's to say I wasn't hanging out with the ghost of Queen Elizabeth?
good old Lizzie.
Wouldn't be the first time me and a elderly, ghostly woman have been paired together. If you are confused about what I'm talking about, go back and watch the Bell Witch episode. But
But anyways, so this is actually a really cool episode because last week Steven went on a trip across the pond. He tried to get us some good haunts and good locations. He's been to some places that we've already talked about. He's been to some places that we are actually now covering now. But go check out our Patreon. Link is in our Twitter bio and our Instagram bio. And yeah, there you can find the video where Steven and I will actually sit here and he will tell us all about everything he encountered. Now, of course, the topic we're covering today, we're going to go more in depth than he's probably going to go on the Patreon episode. But without further ado, let's head across the pond to the good old town of London, to the Tower of London, and let's go find some ghosts.
Alrighty, yeah, let's do it. As Will has just told us here, last week I went to England. I was in both Oxford and London. And while I was in those places, I was able to check out some spooky sites. So, yeah, if you're interested in signing up for our Patreon, we will have a very special episode where called Tales of England. And I'll be talking about the Tower of London. I'll be talking about the ghosts in Oxford Prison and Castle. I actually went to Whitechapel where Jack the Ripper did his murders, and that's an episode we have previously done. So if you're interested in getting that very exclusive episode, please sign up for our Patreon, and you can find ourselves there. Real quick before I dive in, if you are new to our podcast, hello, we are Beyond the Campfire, where the cowboy and the Indian, the cowboy being Will and the Indian being me, talk about ghosts, cryptids, conspiracy theories, anything you would want to share around a campfire. So if you want to connect with us, obviously you can follow us here on this podcast. You can also find us on social media on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Our handle is at Beyond the Campfire Podcast or at Beyond the Campfire. So if you just search up any of those things in those places, you will be able to find us there. So without further ado, the Tower of London. But before we get into that, Will, what do you know about London or England? What do you think about British people? Do you have anything positive to say about them? Do you have anything derogatory to say about them? Uh,
All I got to say is 1776.
1776.
Bald eagles screeching, George Washington. And let's not forget that America is back-to-back World War champs. Y'all would have gotten your asses kicked if it was not for us. You can thank us later.
There you go. And I think we do have some British listeners actually. So
Yeah, we do.
usually when we make fun of a group of people, usually most of the time, none of those people actually watch our show. But
Oops.
yeah, in this case,
Scoreboard.
goodbye, British listeners who are no longer going to listen to us because of this. And no, I'm just kidding.
That sounds scoreboard. Oh, what happened to your friends?
Hey, I mean, 1776. I'm right with you there, Will.
Hey,
I'm pretty
we
sure both of all
started.
know now that we're both very, very proud
Oh, yeah.
Americans. Of course, I'm of Indian descent, but that in no way means that I am not proud of being an American. You know, just like anybody else. I like fireworks, hot dogs. I love freedom and college football and all the
Monster trucks,
monster trucks. Yeah. So
wrestling.
there you go. There you
Hey,
go.
listen, Steven and I, Steven is Indian, so he doesn't like the British because they colonize his people. And then he comes to America, and he's also American, so he doesn't like the British because they colonized his people. So he hates the British times two. Me, my great grandfather came over here from the potato famine, so I'm Irish. So I really don't like the British either. And then I'm American, and I really don't like the British.
There we go. We just have beef with the English all around. So, alrighty, Tower of London. Let us get into it. And again, this episode, I'm not going to show footage of me actually being at the Tower of London. Again, if you want that episode, please subscribe to our Patreon, and you will actually see footage of me physically at the Tower of London.
Mm-hmm.
But again, sign up for the Patreon if you want that. So,
Yep.
okay.
And if you want to, you can find the XXX version of Steven and the Ghosts on our OnlyFans, Beyond the Casting Couch.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Just to be funny, what if we actually now of course we wouldn't be posting any
No.
XFW content, but what if we
I
just
saw
huh?
I saw the funniest thing because you're talking about like, wouldn't it be funny for a meme? We just made an OnlyFans account.
And
There's
you
these
click and it's just our Patreon content, but like
on OnlyFans.
when people first see that link, they're gonna be like,
What?
what?
And then that's how we click. That's how we clickbait them.
No, no.
But no, I was gonna say I saw this Instagram reel where there's this chick, right? And she signed up for OnlyFans, but she's not posting like nudes and stuff. She's taking pictures of like her toes and like photoshopping them onto like pirate ships where they got like little pirate patches on their eyes, and they're like doing these like famous movie scenes and all this. And she's making like a killing off of it.
That's actually wow. Okay.
Pretty genius.
Hey, whatever pays the bills, I guess. Not That's not me endorsing all the content on OnlyFans. I think 99% of OnlyFans content is degenerate, and you shouldn't be giving money to it. You should
Um,
give money to us instead. But no, just
I was
kidding.
gonna say something
But
funny. I've seen memes about it where people have like posted Minecraft tutorials on Pornhub. And the reason why is because Pornhub actually pays more than YouTube with their ads and stuff. So
oh,
people are
no.
creating normal content on Pornhub to get paid more.
Hey, man, whatever,
Hey, if it pays the bills.
whatever pays the bill, dude. Many of you listen to our show on YouTube, but hey, man, I'm not gonna go on that site, but I don't know if Will was feeling a little bit bolder than I was, and you wanted to go and post our videos on that
Can you
site.
imagine if I posted our videos on Pornhub?
So I mean, hey, anyway, but
Then we tell people that we're porn stars.
like,
We're not doing it, but we're on there.
we would have videos on that site. So I mean, anyway, all
Hey,
right,
you can find
let's
me on Pornhub. And then
let's.
they're like, okay, cool. Click on the link. And they're like, oh, I'm excited for this. And then they're like, wait a second. They're just talking about Roanoke.
Let's this podcast get any more off the rails than it already has. I'm gonna reel us back in, and I'm going to.
Tower of London, not the tower in the pants.
I know. I'm gonna bring us back to reality. So,
Thank you.
all right. Anyway, wow. Imagine this is someone's first time listening to our podcast, and this is their first 9 minutes of listening to you and me has been a conversation of us posting on OnlyFans and Pornhub. Like, golly. So,
Welcome to the podcast. Woo!
anyway, Tower of London. So, our journey starts back in the 11th century with a guy that you share a name with, William. But in this case, William the Conqueror, one of the earliest kings of England. And, as his name implies, he was a conqueror. So he was from Normandy in France. He led the Norman invasion. And he and the Normans invaded England. They fought with his cousin. They took over England. And after William the Conqueror successfully conquered England, he's like, you know what? I'm just going to build this big old piece of stone as a large pulsating middle finger to the people of England that I just took over. and I'm going to build this Tower of London. I am going to tell them, this is my property now. You guys are my, you guys are my property, my slaves, and yeah, this Tower of London is going to represent my power and how I took you guys over. So,
Yeah.
naturally, a little bit of a dark origin for the Tower of London there, but yeah, in the 1070s, William the Conqueror, he builds this tower, and for the next several centuries, that kind of just becomes a base for the kings of England to show off their power, show off their prestige. Sometimes, if they need to flex their muscles a little bit, they will execute people at the Tower of London. Uh,
Lovely.
Many executions took place over here. Some of the execution included the wives of the kings of England. I guess they weren't being satisfied or whatever.
She talked
Whatever.
too much.
What?
She talked too much.
Talk too much. Yeah, I don't know.
Didn't
So
fold the laundry.
yeah, so a few of the ghosts are actually the wives of some of the kings of England. But yeah, naturally, you have the dark origin of it being a testament to conquering. You have it being a testament to massacre and execution. Naturally, you are going to get some ghosts,
Yeah.
right? So, some of you might have watched the show The 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo. Well, I have a pending title for this. I don't know what Will the Cowboy intends to name this episode, but I'm just going to call this The 13 Ghosts of the Tower of London.
Okay.
So we're going to go through 13 ghosts. There's actually a lot more ghosts than just these 13, but I figured, hey, these are 13 that I thought were pretty interesting. And I just like, I could talk about the hundreds of ghosts at this place, but I'll just focus on 13 of them. So, alrighty, we got a lot of ghosts to get through, so I'm just going to get to it. But, Will, before I talk about these 13 ghosts, any thoughts, comments, or anything on William the Conqueror, the Tower of London, or anything I've mentioned so far?
All I was gonna say is we really are Shaggy and Scooby.
Uh,
I'm white, got blonde hair, long blonde hair, and you're brown.
so I guess that makes
Roro Reggie.
that makes me Scooby Dooby Doo. So,
There's a roast. There's a roast.
actually, there's a show called I think you watch it. I want to start it. It's called Supernatural.
Yeah, I've finished the whole thing.
You did okay. That's
I'm
with
gonna. Here's what I'm gonna tell
Ethan,
you.
right?
This is hold up. This is my piece of advice before you watch Supernatural. It probably would cost more, but I recommend getting the DVD version
Okay.
because Netflix and Amazon lost the rights to the music. So
What?
yeah, so like
Oh,
the open like all this first season, you've got like they threw in whatever songs they could, and it doesn't even fit the show. So yeah,
okay. That's good to know. So I'm planning to watch that show because one, it relates to a lot of the content I feel like we talk about, but there is an episode where Dean and Sam go into Scooby Doo. Is
yeah,
that
that
right?
was a pretty wild episode because like Scooby and them, they knew like the ghosts and monsters weren't real, but because Sam and Dean got pulled into the TV, it was by like a kid ghost, but because they got pulled in the TV, the monsters were real. And so you see like all of the Scooby Doo gang like have a complete meltdown because they're like, "You're telling me it's all real?"
I know. That's funny. So I'll have to watch that. The guy that plays Sam, the actor, I know him from another show called and if any of the best Yarkies watching this, they might like this, but the guy that plays Sam is the same guy that plays Dean Forrester in the show Gilmore Girls. So, you know, I watched Gilmore Girls. Dean Forrester. So far, I like him. But yeah, if you like Dean Forrester and Gilmore Girls, he plays Sam. Is it called Winchester? Sam.
Mhm. Sam Winchester.
Yeah, the guy who plays Dean Forrester in Gilmore Girls plays Sam Winchester in Supernatural. So if you like Gilmore Girls, maybe you like Supernatural. I don't know. But,
Maybe.
okay, cool. We got 13 ghosts. Let's get through this. So, and I'm gonna go through these pretty quickly, with the exception of a couple. But um, the first guy we have, the first guy, his name is literally Guy. Uh,
Huh.
I'm, I'm talking about Guy Fawkes.
Ooh,
So,
I like Guy Fox. I know Guy Fox.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yep. You ever seen the movie V for Vendetta?
I haven't, no.
You need to watch the movie V for Vendetta.
Okay. Well, he tried to assassinate James the First in Parliament in the year 1605. Uh, so is this the same one?
Well, so the movie V for Vendetta, the guy, so it takes place actually in 2020 after this like massive pandemic takes over and London kind of goes into authoritarian. So you've got this guy who's like rebelling against the government and he wears a Guy Fawkes mask and he's like, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason, plot and treason.
Oh, okay. So it's connected to the real life
Yep.
guy. Okay, funny. Well, the real life Guy Fawkes, yeah, he tried to assassinate James the First. They didn't like that, so they imprisoned him in the Queen's House of the Tower of London. He was subjected to intense torture on a rack. So they tied him up on a rack and they threw rotten food, dead rats, a bunch of other
Oh.
on him. And they got like hot rods and poked him with it, and he would scream a lot. And at the end of all his torture, they eventually just executed him by beheading. So Guy Fawkes, he didn't have a very happy end. But yeah, if you go to the Queen's house uh, late at night, there have been reported uh, blood curdling screams that people report are the screams of Guy Fawkes as he was being
Mm-mm.
tortured. So that's our first ghost. So if you are so bold, you can go to the Queen's House of the Tower of London. And if you're there at late at night, you might catch the screaming of this guy. Pun intended. So he's our first ghost. Yeah. Okay, cool. Our second ghost is King Henry the Sixth.
Ah, not the 8th. Dang.
Not the eighth. I know. The eighth's wife is here, but we'll get to him in just a second. But yeah, King Henry the Sixth. You know, he did King Henry the Sixth things. I won't bore you guys too much with a history lesson of him, but he was imprisoned in the Wakefield Tower of London. And you know, he had made some enemies. There's some people that didn't particularly like him, and so he ended up being murdered. And actually, this is a very controversial place to murder someone. This is probably why there's ghost stories. But he was murdered at the altar in the king's private chapel in 1471, close to midnight. Now, if you guys know anything about the Bible, and whenever I launch Beyond the Bible, a podcast I would like to do in the future, I'll talk about how when someone did not want to be executed, they would actually run to the altar in the temple and they would grab the horns of the altar. And the kings of Israel were afraid to kill that guy because he's like, oh, he's touching the altar, he's petitioning to God. It would be
Yeah.
blasphemous to kill this guy at the altar. So King Solomon, his brother, King Adonijah went and grabbed the altar. And so King Solomon didn't kill him because he's like, okay, well, he grabbed the altar. Well, apparently the people in England didn't care.
Huh.
They killed King Henry VI at the altar close to midnight. So King Henry VI's ghost. He is believed to haunt the Wakefield Tower of this day. So if you want to see him, if you walk around the Wakefield Tower at the stroke of midnight when he was killed, you know, so if you're walking around 11:58, 11:59, people have reported seeing King Henry VI walking inside and grabbing the altar in the Wakefield Tower. So
Huh.
now he disappears shortly after midnight, so you know there's a very limited window of time where you can actually see him. But yeah, if you want to see this kingly ghost, Wakefield Tower, Tower of London, at the stroke of midnight.
So my question is, so what? Why was he arrested?
He was arrested. Let's see. Let me go
Just
back.
kind of
To
curious.
notes. So he was captured during the War of Roses,
Hmm.
and apparently so he was captured by the rebels. So he was the king, and they were alleging that he was oppressing the poor with heavy taxes, and so they didn't like that, and so they um, arrested him based on that account.
Hmm.
Oh, he was the youngest king of England at the time. How old was he? Dang, so they were. Oh, okay. Well, he was 49, which I guess was young. Oh, no, 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 wait. That's how old he was when he died.
Oh,
How how old was he when they captured him? Looks like he was. I can't find it right now.
that's okay. I
Okay.
just was like wondering what was going on at
Yeah,
that time, why
the
he got captured and everything.
yeah, the British being mad about taxes and whatnot. So.
You know, it's actually I think the War of Roses is actually an inspiration for. I think it's one of the stories in Game of Thrones. I think it's Robert Baratheon's rebellion.
Uh,
Um, in Game of Thrones is based off the War of the Roses. I think it's either that or it's like because the main plot of the main books, but one of those.
well, yeah, the War of Roses was between, if I'm correct, the houses of Lancaster and the houses of York, I believe, right?
Yeah, so it is the what's Game of Thrones is based off of because Lancaster is supposed to be the Lannisters and the Yorks are supposed to be the Starks.
I see. I
Yeah,
see.
I would say you should watch it, but the sex scenes are like there's a lot in there.
Yeah, might
But it's I loved it. The battle scenes were really great in there.
that's fair. Yeah, I mean, might not be my cup of tea, but we'll see. So, okay, this next one's a little bit of a fun one. So we have the ghost of a bear. So we have an animal ghost,
There's a bear ghost.
right? And the reason was King Henry III liked to collect wild animals at the Tower of London. So
Huh.
King Henry III housed many wild animals at the Tower of London, including a gift of lions and leopards that he had
Oh my!
acquired from the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II in 1235. He also had pumas, tigers, jackals, an elephant from France, and a polar bear.
Huh.
So visitors would come to see the tower. They would come to see the animals, and this is actually kind of sad. But with the bear, people like to pick on the bear. So when they would see the bear, they would like yell at it, scream at it, try to scare it. They would throw like food and stuff at it. Not to feed it, but just to like harass the bear. And so
Well,
the
this poor bear.
he would actually get really annoyed and angry at times. But like he would also be later in life just be pretty miserable and kind of detached from everybody. So this is actually really sad. But um, yeah, the term became bear baiting, but bear baiting kind of became a popular pastime between the 16th and 17th century. It just became a thing to mess with the bears. Uh, so anyway, what happens today is that uh, if you go behind the door of the jewel room in the Tower of London, a ghost of a bear is reported to appear and standing guard over uh, the jewel room. So that's one bear. Another bear, the ghost of a black bear, is reported to appear near the Martin Tower. Um, that was only once, so that was in the year 1816. But for the year 1816, several reports of a black bear ghost was reported around that area.
Mm-hmm.
That one's no longer really seen anymore. But some people to this day still report seeing the bear guarding the door of the jewel room. So
Wow.
there you go. I know we talked about Nandi bear last week.
Yep.
Well, hey, you got some ghostly bears in England this week.
Yep. We're giving you guys some unbearable episodes.
There you go. Okay, so those are the first three ghosts. Any thoughts, comments, or questions as I get into the last 10?
No, I think that's pretty cool with the bears.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of sad that abusing bears just kind of became a thing to do,
I know that sucks. It's
but
stupid.
so luckily that doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, wow.
Now they
Okay,
just get pepper sprayed.
the next one, I'm actually pretty sure we've talked about this guy at some point, but the next one is the ghost of Sir Walter Raleigh.
I think we might have talked about Walter Raleigh.
We might have mentioned him in connection to some other people because I think I don't know if he interacted with Captain Kidd or some other pirate before,
Maybe.
or was he involved with Roanoke?
I think he might have been involved in Roanoke.
He might have been involved with Roanoke. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah,
We
he was involved with Roanoke.
He was. Okay, we definitely talked about him before. Well, hey, guess what, guys? He's back. So
Yes, who's back?
he's back.
Back again.
So Sir Walter Raleigh had been imprisoned in the Tower of London not once, not twice, but three times, both by
Wow.
Philip the First and also by James the First. Again, James the First is the one who killed Guy Fawkes. So yeah, I guess James the First just liked imprisoning people over here.
Yeah.
But he at one point, Sir Walter Raleigh spent over 13 years in the Bloody Tower during
Oh.
confinement, and the what he experienced there was so horrible that he had even attempted suicide at one point.
Mm.
But Sir Walter Raleigh, his last imprisonment took place in 1603. But yeah, eventually he was beheaded outside the Palace of Westminster. Uh, Now, Westminster Abbey is not too far away from the Tower of London. So he's technically not exclusively to the Tower of London, but there have been reports of people watching him dragging chains from Westminster Abbey to the Tower of London and then dragging the chains back from the Tower of London back to Westminster Abbey. So if you were in England late at night from, I don't know, sometime late at night between the Tower of London and Westminster Abbey, you could see Sir Walter Raleigh dragging some chains around the town. So
Wow.
there you go. Maybe Will, you and me can go there and ask him about Roanoke.
Well,
And
you know what? I also looked in there, and I got another reason not to like Walter Raleigh.
oh yeah, why is that?
He suppressed the Irish Rebellion.
I see. So maybe you're happy he got executed
A
in
little
front
bit.
of Abbey. I don't know.
A
So
little bit.
okay, the next one. We don't know who this ghost is. All we know that it is a woman without a face.
Wow.
So, in 1957, the Welsh Guardsman Johns was on sentry duty at the Salt Tower. As he was guarding, he encountered the shapeless form of a young woman without a face
Huh.
and reported it for the guards. And for the next several nights, many other guards also reported seeing a young woman crawling around the tower. And in one
No.
crawling up the tower,
Uh-uh.
and when you yelled at her and she would turn around, you would see her, but she didn't have a face. After that
Listen.
1997 incident, she was not seen again. But for that 1 week, if you were a guard walking around the tower, you would see her crawling around the tower or crawling up the tower. And if you
Uh-uh.
called out to her, she would turn around, and again, you'd see her faceless face.
Listen. I can deal with demons. I could deal with seeing, Sir Walter Raleigh walking around with some chains on him, But to see not it's not just like you see this ghost walking. No, she's crawling like the girl from The Ring and is like, "Hey there, look, no face." And it's like, "No, no, stay away." I'm glad she's no longer there because if we had to investigate this place and she was there, you're going in that room, not me. I'll hang out with Paul somewhere else.
There you go, man. There's rumors about exactly what kind of tortures, because several of the tortures that were conducted in the Tower of London are well documented. However, there's also reports of other tortures that we just have no idea what they did to people.
Mm.
But hey, I mean, there's speculation that, man, maybe they were removing the faces of some people, which very gritty stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
this young woman, yeah, she made herself known for a period of time. So
Mm.
okay, this one is perhaps the most famous ghost at the Tower of London, and this is Anne Boleyn.
Mm.
If you know who Anne Boleyn is, Anne Boleyn was the second wife of King Henry VIII.
Ah, the Mad Horn Dog.
There you go. Now, I won't get into too much of his history, but if you know anything about King Henry VIII, he's the guy that separated the Church of England from the Catholic Church, largely in part because he wanted to divorce his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, so that he could be with Anne Boleyn. So this guy did quite a bit to be with Anne Boleyn. He started the Protestant Reformation in England. He annulled the marriage to his first wife. He declared himself the new supreme head of the church rather than the Pope. So he did quite a lot to be with Anne Boleyn. So was he satisfied with his marriage with Anne Boleyn? This guy did quite a lot to be with her. Was he happy with everything he did to be with her?
Probably not.
The answer was nope. He was not happy. He did all this stuff to be with her, and yet just 3 years later, King Henry VIII accused Anne Boleyn of adultery. He took her as prisoner by the barge along the River Thames, which the Tower of London is next to, and he passed her through the infamous Traitor's Gate, which, if you were paraded through the Traitor's Gate, you were declared an enemy of the crown, and you were there's nothing you could do at that point. If you were crossed over through the Traitor's Gate, like you were going to die. There was no getting out of it. So Anne Boleyn is passed through, and she is beheaded on the Tower Green, where she is later laid to rest in the parish church of the Tower of London. So she was executed at the Tower of London, and she is buried at the church Tower of London. So
What
she
a
uh, she
sting.
never really left that place.
No.
Now, this is where things get interesting. Starting about 340 years ago, a soldier reported seeing a light burning in the chapel when nobody was assigned to be there. He walked into the tower, got into the chapel, took a peek, looked in, saw the light, but didn't see any candles, didn't see any other light sources, but he saw light. He's like, that's weird. He walks into the chapel, he gets on top of a window, takes a closer look, and he sees a procession of knights and ladies, ghostly knights and ladies, being led by a woman at the front. He kind of crawls over, takes another peek through the window, tries to see who this woman is. And to his shock and horror, it is a headless Anne Boleyn leading the procession around the chapel.
Boy.
There have been several other reports, some of it with headless Anne Boleyn by herself. Sometimes it's Anne Boleyn leading this procession of knights and ladies. But reports of her to this day have been a little bit less common. But if you wanted to see headless Anne Boleyn and her ghost, go to the chapel where she is buried, and you might catch a glimpse of her body without its head walking along the chapel, sometimes by itself, sometimes with this procession.
Hmm.
All right, how many ghosts do I got down? I think that's 7, right?
Let's see. You had the Guy Fawkes, the bear. I think 7. Either 6 or 7.
Yeah, I've got 6. So I still have 7 more to go. So, hey, this might be a little bit of a longer episode today, but that's a-okay. We will not shy away from longer episodes. Our main concern is we talk about everything we want to talk about. So,
Yeah.
All right, I got 7 more ghosts for us. So let's get into it. Ghost number 7, Margaret Pole. So, like Anne Boleyn, Margaret Pole was the Countess of Salisbury, and she was beheaded at the Tower Green, like Anne Boleyn. She was 67 at the time of her death, and she was brought to the scaffold by King Henry VIII. So now, why was she beheaded? Well, she was accused for the crime of being the mother of Cardinal Pole. Now, you might be like, "What? How's that a crime?" Well, what did Cardinal Pole do, right? So Cardinal Pole was a bishop of the Catholic Church at the time, and Cardinal Pole opposed King Henry VIII, leaving the Catholic Church and setting himself up as the supreme head of the Church of.
Mm.
So Cardinal Pole was like, "Hey, King Henry VIII, you don't just get to divorce your wife and declare yourself the head of the church. All right, you're not the Pope. You don't get to do that." So Cardinal Pole says that, and King Henry VIII, he's like, "You know what? I don't really like this Cardinal Pole guy." But he's like, "You know what? I could behead Cardinal Pole." But he's like, "You know what? I'm going to do something else. I'm going to psychologically torture this.
Oh boy.
Could I execute his wife? Well, hey, wait. Cardinal Pole is a bishop of the Catholic Church. He's not married. The dude's a virgin, right? The dude's abstinent. He doesn't have a wife. He
Yep.
doesn't have. King Henry VIII's like, well, darn. He doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have kids. Well, hey, he has a mom.
Oh boy.
Dearly. You know what? Instead of beheading him, I'm going to behead his mom because that is going to psychologically torture this guy for the crime of saying that I don't get to declare myself the King of England. So,
Ridiculous.
giving off a very cultish leader type vibes. Um, had Margaret Pole beheaded. So, why would Margaret Pole haunt the Tower of London to this day? Well, an eyewitness said that on the day she was supposed to be executed in 1541, the executioner was new to the job. All right, he hadn't executed before.
Oh God.
He was a wretched and blundering youth. So he's a pretty young guy, probably in his late teens to early 20s. And
Yep. I know where this is going.
it was his first day on the job. And, let's just say he was unable to perform a clean execution with his axe. So, and again, for those of you that are a little bit more sensitive, maybe you want to tune out for a second.
Yeah, plug your ears right
He,
quick.
he
The adults
instead,
talking.
he instead hacked away at Margaret Pole's head and shoulders. Well, obviously with something not that clean, she screamed. She screamed bloody murder. And to this day, it is said that her eternal screams echo from the Tower of London to this day.
Good Lord.
Yes, sir. So, if you are at the Tower of London, really any part, they said her screams were so loud that you could hear it in every part of the Tower of London. So, with some of these ghosts, you have to go to a specific part of the tower to kind of find them or hear them. No, you can hear her screams really from any part of the tower. Now, obviously, if you're at the Tower Green, you'll hear the screams more distinctly than you would from maybe a farther away place. But if you want to hear a 67-year-old woman screaming, Tower of London's your place.
Yeah.
Okay, that one was brutal.
Golly. When you told me, you're like, oh, this guy's new on the job. I'm like, I know where this is going.
Yep.
He's fixing to not lop her head off like he should.
All right, the final 6 ghosts. Let's get through it. This one has just been called the White Figure. So we don't know exactly who it is.
Yeah.
But for many years, the Tower of London was protected by a group known as the Yeoman Warders. They were also nicknamed the Beef Eaters. Now, at some point, the Yeoman Warders carried out executions of themselves. Someone would try to break into the tower or try to do something, and these Beef Eaters would, they would stick them with a bayonet. So, in 1864, Captain J.D. Dundas watched one of the Yeoman Warders attempt to charge a whitish female figure with his bayonet. Well, the Yamen warder, as he attempted to stab the whitish woman with his bayonet, as he struck her, she instantly disappeared into the night. That was weird. For the next several nights, that same whitish figure was reported to be seen walking along the site where Anne Boleyn was beheaded.
Interesting.
She hasn't been seen in recent years, but for the next several centuries, some people said they reported seeing her either walking along where Anne Boleyn was, or she herself was walking alongside the headless Anne Boleyn during her procession. So again, we don't know exactly who she was, but we do know that at one point, one of the beefeaters, the Yamen warders, had tried to attack her, but obviously, with her being a ghost, they were unsuccessful. But
Yeah.
people named her the White Figure. So, okay, number 9. Uh, so this one is another queen. This is Lady Jane Grey, who became queen after the death of King Edward VI, who was the son of King Henry VIII. And she had the shortest reign of any queen. She lasted, guess how much time she was the Queen of England?
I give her 6 months.
She lasted a mere 9 days.
Okay, I was close.
So, 9 days. And I'm getting hiccups again. Okay, so, man, I'm going to need to drink water. This is like the second time I've gotten hiccups during an episode.
This is why we don't drink before filming, Stephen.
I know, I need to be doing that. So,
No, no, I was.
what?
I said this is why you don't drink before filming.
Oh, you don't drink? I thought drinking helps.
No, I'm talking about like when they say you have a nip of alcohol and you get the hiccups.
Oh, I have heard that before.
Yeah, that's what I was making a joke about, and you go,
Oh, I thought
"Yeah,
you were.
you're right. I should start drinking before these episodes." And I'm like, "No, Steve, don't."
I was talking about drinking water. Although, hey, I don't know. Maybe we do a Patreon episode where me and you try to do an episode drunk. So
I
I'm not.
want to do an episode where we're high on cow shrooms.
Oh man, hey man, maybe you will be. I don't know.
Steven, do you
A good
see
little.
Anne Boleyn in the corner? Just me?
Anyway, all right. So Lady Jane Grey. Um, she was 16 years old. She was arranged to marry Lord Guilford Dudley.
Hmm.
Well, after the king's death, she became the queen. Now, here was the problem. Lady Jane Grey was a Protestant.
Oh.
Her cousin, Queen Mary, was a Catholic. Queen Mary was not happy that I guess it would be her uncle, uncle, her uncle, King Henry VIII, separated from the Catholic Church, declared himself the head of the Church of England. And so Queen Mary issues a council. The council declares that Catholic Queen Mary is the true leader of England and that the Church of England needs to go back to the Catholic Church. And so she forcefully takes over the throne. And Protestant Lady Jane Grey, well, she can't be allowed to live anymore. So she is executed in the Tower Green, just like Anne Boleyn before her. And the figure of Lady Jane Grey is said to haunt the battlements of the Tower of London to this day. So, well, if you and me went to the church, you and me being Protestants, we would be just fine. There are reports of Lady Jane Grey messing with some Catholics.
Hmm.
So, if you're one of our Catholic listeners and you are traveling to the Tower of London. I would avoid the battlements of the Tower of London because
One lucky Catholic listener is going to go with Stephen and Will on a ghost hunt for them to sacrifice you to Lady Jane Grey.
there you go. And so you might have the Protestant ghost of Lady Jane Grey harass you. Now, it's nothing too crazy. Apparently, she's like pushed some Catholics or like tripped them or something like that. There's been no serious injuries or murder or anything like that happening.
She
Uh,
whispers in your ear.
Lady,
You hear,
yeah, Lady Jane Grey is not too fond of the Catholics.
you hear
So,
her whispering in your ear, "You're stupid for thinking that Mary's still a virgin."
there you go. She hasn't really done anything for Protestants. So, like, if you're a Protestant, she's not like trying to be friendly to you or anything like that. But hey, maybe I can try rizzing her up or something like that. That's a joke. That's a joke.
The Bell Witch, the Not Deer, the Cryptids, and now he's hitting on Lady Grey.
I, I don't think I helped the rumors about me hitting on.
No, you don't. Steven's
Uh,
gonna roll up to those battlements and he's gonna be like, "What's up, Lady Jane Grey? I'm Protestant, you know. I wouldn't kill you.
yeah, I'm
Might
Protestant.
stab you with my sword."
I'm Protestant.
Wink.
You're Protestant. You're about 500 years too old for me. But hey,
Steven likes cougars.
I. So, all right. Lest I make any more shocking jokes about myself, we got four more ghosts. So, this next one is the ghost of a monk.
A monk.
So, a Catholic monk at one point got on the bad side of a Protestant king. And so the Protestant king executes this Catholic monk. So hey, we got Protestant ghosts, we got Catholic ghosts, we got all these, you know.
So Steven's gonna go riz up the Protestant ghost. I'm gonna go piss off the Catholic ghost.
There you go. So this monk, if you are walking around the Tower of London, people report that you can hear the sounds of his sandals slapping against the stone floors. That's really all there is to say about him. He doesn't harass Protestants. He
Good.
doesn't do anything else. He just kind of slaps his sandals against the stone floor.
I'm gonna harass him.
Uh,
I'm gonna walk in there and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, Catholic ghost, you know what? Maybe if you prayed to Jesus and not some dead saints, you'd be fine."
there you go, man. Maybe you get a reaction out of him. So, although with him being a monk, monks are generally peaceful. So you might bother him, and he still might not do anything. But
We just kept like a grumble, like, "Stupid Protestants."
there you go. All right, ghost number 11 is and this ghost is actually the one that is reported to be seen the most. So if we actually went there, we might not see some of the other ghosts, but we could see the ghost of Arabella Stewart. So who is Arabella Stewart? Well, she was the cousin of Elizabeth I. She was imprisoned by James I. So now this makes her the third ghost associated with King James I. And she was imprisoned by King James I for marrying William Seymour. Now, who was William Seymour? William Seymour was the nephew of Lady Jane Grey, the Protestant ghost that we were talking about earlier.
The dots, they're connecting.
I was about to say a lot of these ghosts are connected to each other. So Arabella Stewart, she marries the nephew of Lady Jane Grey. Well, let's see if you've been paying attention. Lady Jane Grey, what is she?
So she was the daughter-in-law of King Henry VIII.
Right. What
Shows
denomination?
she's Protestant.
She's Protestant. Okay, so you have Lady Jane Grey, who is a Protestant. She has this nephew, William Seymour. What do you think William Seymour's denomination is going to
He's
be?
a Protestant.
He's also a Protestant. Arabella Stewart marries this Protestant nephew without royal consent. Well, who's going to get mad about that? Which denomination is going to be mad about Arabella Stewart the cousin of Queen Elizabeth I, marrying a Protestant?
It's going to be the Catholics.
It's going to be the Catholics, right? So they weren't too happy about Arabella Stuart marrying a Protestant William Seymour, who could potentially actually take up the throne, as he was, related to Queen Lady Jane Grey. So, seeing this as a potential threat to the throne, King James arrests Arabella, and he had her purposefully starved. And well, you starve someone long enough, guess what happens to them?
They die.
They die. So Arabella's ghost is seen stalking the queen's house to this day. Sometimes she's kind of limping around, other times she's crawling around.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have reported her whispering for bread or for milk.
Mm.
She's crawling around the queen's house, and she's saying bread, milk, bread, milk. And she's the ghost that's been reported being seen the most. So if you're walking around the queen's house at all, you may see Arabella Stuart crawling around or limping around, begging for some bread or for some milk.
You're gonna give her some bread, Stephen.
I
You're gonna lay that truth down on her. Say, guess what? I've got the best bread of all, and his name is Jesus Christ, the bread of life. Can I get an amen?
Hey, if reports are to be true, apparently I guess she was also a Protestant herself. So, hey,
Hey, Stephen's rizzing up Sarah Jane, and he's gonna go rizz up
golly, Arabella Stewart, yeah.
Arabella Stewart.
Actually, out of curiosity, I'm gonna look up what these people look like, for no apparent reason. So,
For no apparent reason. Mm-hmm.
uh,
Let's see. What was it? Queen Sarah Jane Grey?
Lady Jane Grey, Lady Jane Grey. So, um, okay. I mean,
You know what?
she's
Lady
okay.
Jane. Listen, this one picture of Lady Jane Grey, I think you'd hit that.
Golly, some of these portraits have her looking like really really good looking, and then some of these portraits have her kind of looking a little bit cross-eyed. So I don't know, man. I don't know what she looks like, but yeah. So
We had Lady Arabella Stewart.
Arabella Stewart. Let's see what she looked like. So
I don't think we're gonna want to hit this one. That
uh,
is a
uh
monster forehead.
okay, yeah, Arabella Stewart's yeah, not quite my type.
No, she's okay. Well, this one picture here of her doesn't look too bad.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
okay,
there you go.
golly.
Some cleavage going on for you.
Okay. All right. Two more ghosts, and then we'll end this up. So this one is a 12-year-old boy. Very sad.
Hmm.
Um, this is the young son of Edward IV, and this was now the ghost is reported to be seen as a 12-year-old version of him. He actually does grow up, but 12-year-old Edward becomes King Edward V, and he's protected by his uncle, the Duke of Gloucester.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while waiting to become king, the Duke of Gloucester, his uncle, decides, I'm going to be king, and he imprisons young Edward and his younger brother Richard in the Tower of London. Uh, his mother runs away, takes refuge in Westminster Abbey, and the Duke of Gloucester declares young Edward an illegitimate king. He proclaims himself king and becomes King Richard III. And Edward and Richard are never seen again. It is believed that they're murdered at the order of their uncle.
What's crazy, Stephen?
What's that?
This might be a mystery we cover on the podcast. The mystery of these two.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a really well known English mystery because it's like what happened.
okay. Um, well, according to my notes, their bones Oh no, 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 not their bones. Okay, the bones of two children were found beneath a staircase in the Tower of London. Some people think this might be the bones of King Edward V and his brother, his younger brother Richard. Which
Yeah.
I guess we'll cover that at some point because we don't know exactly what happened to. But
Yeah. We'll go into a lot more detail about their lives, the story, the theories, and all that at some point in the future.
cool. Well, hey, their ghosts are said to be walking up and down the staircase of the Tower of London. So if you go up the staircase, you can hear the voices of two children, two young boys talking to each other, and you can also hear their footsteps running up and down the Tower of London.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, that staircase, the bones of two children were found under there. So,
Mystery. Crazy.
uh, all right, the final and 13th ghost. This ghost is called the Nameless Thing. And this one actually might be the most terrifying of all the ghosts that we've talked about. I decided to leave the spookiest one for last.
Mm.
So, the Nameless Thing is a petrifying spirit which follows the guards of the tower to this day. It is reported as standing about 6 feet tall. If you look at it, it is a man with rotting flesh. So he looks
Oh no.
so his face is like starting to fall off.
Oh
His
boy.
body is like if you look at his hands, he looks like something straight out of The Walking Dead. But like his body is just like, and I'm not talking about the zombies early in the show. I'm talking about the zombies like later on in the show that have
Yeah.
rotting for a while. Like it looks like one of those things. And they said you smell him before you see him. So
Oh
his
boy.
body, like the putrid odor of rotting human flesh, that can be smelled from several hundred yards away. And then they said you can see him walking up. And they said usually he is seen following the guards of the tower as they walk around the River Thames Sally portal entrance. So, if you want to follow the British guards as they are guarding the Tower of London, you may also see, or at least smell, what has been called the Nameless Thing. What happened to him? Who is he? What horrible things did he undergo at the Tower of London?
We'll never know.
Who knows? But yeah, he is quite the terrifying sight to look at. He certainly is quite a terrifying sight to smell.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah, out of all the ghosts I talked about today, he is the most terrifying, visually speaking. So,
Yeah.
and that's it, man. Those are the 13 ghosts of the Tower of London. I really don't know what else to say other than do you have
No.
any thoughts, comments, questions, or concerns on it?
Well, if you guys really enjoyed this episode of us going through these different ghosts, and you want to actually see Stephen probably go more in depth, a little bit past them, and show us some photos of what he's encountered, you can find that on our Patreon, where Stephen will actually be not only going over that, but other, like we said, Jack the Ripper and some other haunted places he's been. But I think that about wraps it up for us. Yeah. Anything else, Steve, before we go?
That's it, man. So yeah, if we ever went to the Tower of London, man, we would have our hands full because there is several hundred ghosts that walk around this place, and
Man.
naturally so.
Well, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, follow, comment, and yeah, don't lose your head.